It is time for our children to stop looking up to rappers. I'm going to go on this side. It's time for us to stop losing our children to the judicial system, to drugs. It's time for us to start creating strong families, Christian families. And when I think of Christian family, there's a name that resonates in our household almost every day that reminds me of my young family when we started out. And that's who's going to be your guest speaker today. He's a young man that's doing a phenomenal job with our campus life ministry. Him and his wife together, I want you to remember their names because I'm praying that Tuscaloosa remains relevant enough to house them as God continues to take them higher. Phenomenal young man, phenomenal family. He's a husband, he's a school teacher, he's a father, he's a mentor, he's my friend, he's my brother, and we love him dearly. I want you to open your hearts, open your spiritual ears, and hear God speaking to you through the human embodiment of Tre Finklea.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. All right, as Bishop said, I am a teacher, but I teach 7th grade students. So this is a little new for me. When DP pulled me to the side and asked me to speak this Sunday, he asked me and my wife. I said, yeah. Then my wife got in the car. She said, you realize what you said? And then you told me he want both of us to speak. And you said, you should have waited. I said, well, yeah, you're right. I said, but you know, I just didn't want to say no. And I said, I don't want to say no if they see something in me, you know, because what I'm realizing, sometimes God will send people your way to see something in you to bring that thing forth. So what I didn't want to do is sit down on this and then, because I'm expecting a miracle. I don't know about y'all, but I'm expecting a miracle. So I said, if I'm expecting a miracle, I'm going to get Tre out the way. And I'm going to go up here and whatever God give me to say, I'm going to say it. If they receive it, they receive it. If they don't receive it, they don't receive it. Because I'm going to tell you anyway, this word is for me. Okay, I'm talking to myself. But since you're here, I hope you can take something with you. All right. Amen. So today I want to talk to you about God's timing being everything. So today I'll come from first giving honor to God who's ahead of my life. I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. I love the Lord, y'all. I do. I really, really do. I love the Lord. To Bishop Evans, Lady Evans, thank y'all so much for entrusting me, our staff. Everyone here so kindly, the praise team. Y'all know I love y'all. That's my family. That's my family, y'all. I'm sorry. To my beautiful wife, Jessica, to my mom, Nicole, to my sister, Kayla, thank y'all so much for being here. My family and friends watching online, thank y'all so much. I won't be before you long, guys. Today I just want to come and talk to you about God's timing. And first I want you to turn to Ecclesiastes 3, 1 and 2. All right. And it says, for everything there is a season, a time for every activity under the heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest. So over the 29 years of my life, I've learned the best things in life take time. As a child, my father would take us fishing and hunting, and we would grow ill or intemperate because sometimes it would take a long time. If you've ever been fishing, the fish might not bite as soon as you get out there. If you've ever been hunting, a little doe may come by, but it may not be big enough for you to take home, so you have to watch it through. But as a child, I didn't understand that I wanted to shoot or I wanted to catch whatever we came out here to catch and go home. That's what I wanted to do. But always by the end of the trip, we would understand the waiting process. As a young single man, I learned that cooking takes time, and having a relationship, whether that's friends or with a significant other, it takes time. Finding a career takes time. Getting money takes time. Now, as a grown man, I've learned things such as parenting take time and marriage takes time. So what I'm trying to convey to you is that the best things in life take time. People who don't have time to cook usually aren't good cooks. That's because they don't have the time. You can get married and you can have a wedding in 30 minutes, but everybody that is here can tell you that it takes time to have a good, stable marriage. Growing up, me and my sister, I had a younger sister and a younger brother. We grew up with our mom. She was always in the church, but you know how them mamas can be, especially if you got 3 children. So we would want to go somewhere on a Friday night, whether that was with our friends or just to go to the game or whatever. We would always ask each other, have you talked to your mama yet? Because we knew, depending on the timing of our question and what mood she was in, it would change the outcome of her answer of where we wanted to go. So even as a child, we understood that timing is important. So as I was studying this, and I was thinking about, I can recall my pastor would often ask us all the time, what season are you in your life? And the question came and said, Trey, well, do you know what season you are in? And I want to pose that same question to you. Do you know the season that you are in right now? So as I was thinking about this thing, I said, I done heard this my whole life, seasons and people. So I looked up this analogy. The analogy that I found, an analogy is just when it compares something you don't understand to something you do understand, okay? So what I was doing, I found an analogy, and it used the 4 seasons. I'm sorry, go along with me. All right, the 4 seasons. The 4 seasons, they compared the 4 seasons to human emotions and experiences that we go through. See, in our life, we have many chapters, which are basically changes or new things that are taking place in our lives. For example, we get a new job, a new relationship, a new house, new hobbies, or new habits. Each chapter of our lives is made up of ups and downs and of mountains and valleys. So the first phase 1, everything is going good. This is your go-get-it phase. You wake up in the morning, you're feeling connected to your values, you're connecting, you're finding things that are going to push you to your purpose. Phase 2, fall. You're stuck. You're tired of the situation you're in. You're being negative about the situation. You feel like you're stuck, but you don't know how to get out of this feeling that you're in. Phase 3, winter. This is your cocooning time. You need time to do some introspection. So in other words, Michael Jackson worded this one the best. He said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. That's when we begin to look at the things that are connected to us. We're aligning our values with the purpose that we think that God has for us. In phase 4, spring, this is our exploration stage. We're making changes in our life, meeting new people, going in a new direction, learning and trying new things. So again, my question to you today is, do you know what time you are in your life? We've all heard the expression, good things come to those who wait. It is likely that you've heard this said many times before. The expression is meant to push you to pursue the virtue of patience. However, this way of thinking seems to stand in stark contrast to the world that we live in now, where we're used to speed and the mindset that if we wait too long, we'll never reach our hopes and our goals or our ambitions. Truly, this ideal of holding out for the good things is very biblical. I've seen this come true in my own life as well as being a major theme in God's word. For Psalms 27:14 states, wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. All throughout history, God usually does his best work after a wait. David waited 15 years to be king. Moses waited 40 years to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Sarah waited 25 years for her appointed child, Isaac. So long that it took matters into her own hands and she had her husband sleep with her handmaid Hagar to give her a son. Rebecca waited 20 years to give birth to Jacob and Esau. But we don't even have to look back thousands of years. We can go right there to Oprah Winfrey. She began to working in media in the 20s, but she didn't make her career until she was 32. Jay-Z was 26 when his first album, Reasonable Doubt, dropped and it blew up after grinding for so many years. Taraji P. Henson didn't reach full success until the age of 44. Samuel L. Jackson first appeared on the radars in Jungle Fever at the age of 43. Jeff Bezos was 31 when he launched Amazon. Reed Hoffman was 35 when he founded LinkedIn. And J.K. Rowling, when she first published her first book, was 34. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that we all want good things to happen in our lives, but too often we want it now and not later. When it doesn't happen that way, we're tempted to ask God, well, when, God, when? But my question to you today is, do you know what time it is in your life? Has it ever crossed your mind that maybe you're not ready for what God has for you? So before you can open your own restaurant, God will have it to where you'll become the manager at Burger King. And all the while you're mad and you're complaining and you're frustrated, He's preparing and equipping you with the necessary knowledge and experience needed for you to start your own business. Therefore, when He opens the door, you already know everything that you need. The thing about it, God is so strategic. While you're working, He'll have an investor to come through the drive-through line. And this same man that you serving an Egg McMuffin to, a hot coffee, 3 creams and 5 sugars, you will go into the bank, and that same man that you served every day with a smile will find favor in you and give you the loan that you've been looking for. I'm here to tell you that it's all about timing. Somebody say timing is everything. If I could just take you back to Ecclesiastes 3:1, where it states, to everything there's a season and a time for every matter or purpose under heaven. This lets us know that we all don't live in the same season at the same time. We shouldn't grow jealous of one another. We shouldn't be jealous of someone when they're reaping their harvest and you're still in your planting season. Remember, they had to go through a season of planting just as you are. Remember that seed time represents learning the will of God. Each time I choose God's will instead of my own, I'm planting a good seed that will eventually bring a harvest in my life. If you want to be victorious, you cannot afford to get pulled into the world's systems or doing what you feel like doing. Ecclesiastes 3:2. If there's a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to harvest. In other words, there's time to shut away of things from your past, things that aren't aligned with the will of God, things that you know are causing you to be a roadblock in your life. That old woman or man, that club, that bar, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat. See, these things are all weeds in our lives, and weeds have the ability to grow anywhere there's room. See, they interfere in your harvest. They compete with crops, the plants for water, nutrients, space, and light. They affect the plant growth. The presence of weeds increase and hinder the progress of work. They reduce the value of produce. So again, there's a time to plant and a time to harvest. Remember, between seed time and harvest time comes a time of wait. That W word. That W word. That W word. That W word. How many of us have a hard time with waiting? I know I do. I can recall when I was younger one time, I can't remember, I think y'all, I was so crazy, I'm telling you how crazy it was. I was crazy, I was up in there talking to the Lord, I was in college at Stillman College, and I was seeking God to join this organization on campus, you know what I'm saying? And I was asking God, because they told us they were going to do it in the fall. Well, the fall came, they didn't have lines. So we sitting up there like, Lord Jesus, I don't want to wait another year. So I'm up, I remember on my bed in my room. This year I was an RA, so when nobody else in the room, I'm literally on my bed like, God, do you hear me? When are you going to do this? When are you going to open this door? I done opened his credit card and maxed it out, Lord. I can't go another semester trying to get these folks to see me. You know what I'm saying? So it's just hard being in the waiting room, waiting on a job is hard, waiting on a husband or a wife is hard, waiting for your number to hit at the lottery is hard. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. See, there are multiple factors that must take place in order for the seed to become whatever it was intended to become when it was planted. Go to the next one. I want to see the picture. There we go. All right. So after a seed is planted, the heat, moisture, and pressure of the ground finally causes the outer hull to crack open. The roots shoot down, digging their way through the ground. It takes time for this to happen, and it takes place all underground. See, above the ground, you can't tell that anything is happening. And that's the way that our lives are. After we plant seeds of obedience, we feel like nothing is happening, but all kinds of things are happening inside when we can't see it. Like the seed that finally burst through the ground with a beautiful green shoot, our seeds of obedience finally break forth into a beautiful manifestation of God in our lives. When harvest time comes, the desires of your heart begin to manifest. Bondages fall off of you, and you see your dreams come to pass. In other words, there are multiple things that you are going to have to go through in order to reach your destiny. We're going to have to go through some storms. We're going to go through some experience of some losses. We're going to experience loneliness. But in those times, we must remember where God has brought us from, the dangers seen and unseen. He's brought back family members that was lost to the street, kept marriages, paid bills not once, twice, but 3 times. When harvest time comes, the desires of your heart begin to manifest. Bondages fall off of you, and you see your dreams come to pass. You see your kids changing and your family getting saved. Prosperity, favor, promotion, honor, and all kinds of good things come out in the open where they can be seen. In harvest time, more than ever before, you hear from God. You enjoy his presence, and you're led by the Spirit. Blessings begin to trace you down the street, and joy and calm delight become your normal mood. But my question to you, are you tired of waiting for the harvest time in your life? Are you frustrated crying out, when, God, when? Then I need you to understand that God's timing is often a mystery. He doesn't do things on our timetable, yet his word promises that he will not be late, not one single day. So we have to realize the things we have planned won't happen right away. Slowly, steadily, surely, the time approaches when the vision will be fulfilled. If it seems slow, do not despair, for these things will surely come to pass. Just be patient. My mama says all the time, he may not come when you want him, but he'll be there right on time. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. We have to understand that God causes things to happen at exactly the right time. Your job is to not figure out when, but to make up in your mind that you won't give up until you cross the finish line, and that you are living in a radical, outrageous blessings of God. The more you trust Jesus and keep your eyes focused on him, the more life you'll have. Trusting God brings life. Believing brings rest. So stop trying to figure out everything and let God be God in your life. So before I leave you today, I want to leave you with 4 things to remember while waiting on God. Number 1, remember there's a natural delay between planting and harvesting. In other words, when I plant something, I don't wake up the next morning to run out here and see, has it produced? See, many of you are waiting on a breakthrough, but there's a time for your harvest because it comes at God's time. Number 2, remember there's an unforeseen battle going on. While we are waiting, there's an unseen battle going on. There's a spiritual warfare going around in a realm that we don't even understand. We don't see it or feel it. There's a cosmic war between the kingdom of God and the kingdom of this world, between God and Satan, between God's angels and fallen angels. Satan hates you. He despises you. He is a deceiver. He is trying to stop every kind of progress in your life, but we serve a God who is fighting for us. Ephesians 6:12, for our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So while you are waiting for the prayer, Satan starts throwing darts at you, the dart of doubt, the dart of unbelief, the dart of discouragement, the dart of disappointment, the dart of depression. So we must be aware that Satan is trying to get us down. The truth is, we don't know about the spiritual warfare going on behind our prayers, but I need you to remember that a delay is not a denial. When the answer to prayer is delayed, it does not mean that they are not going to be answered. Number 3, God requires us to wait to keep us in step with his timing. God has a timing for everything in our lives. Sometimes we're not able to hide God's ways in our lives. God is powerful to answer every prayer, but God does not work on our timetable. And finally, number 4, God always keeps his promises. This is what you need to remember when you are waiting for your promise. You can count on God. God will never fail you. God gave Abraham a son when he was 100 years of age. He delivered the Hebrews out of bondage after 400 years in Egypt. And God made David king after 14 years of wandering. After 70 years of exile, God brought back the exiles to Jerusalem. The thing that I want to leave you with today, that the same God that kept those people, it's the same God. The same God is going to keep you. Amen.
Remain on your feet. As the young folks say, what? I need every high schooler, every college person at this altar. Come here, Tre and Jessica. If you're in high school, 10th, 11th, 9th grade, 12th grade, y'all come up. I know we've had you at the altar before, but I cannot let this oil leave the building and you don't have an opportunity to come in contact with it. Come closer. This is a young couple. They're in their 20s. Both of them back in school to get a doctoral degree. I don't know if you, come on, y'all come closer. I don't want you to miss it. I don't know if you heard the context clues. Tre said that his mama took them to church. Doesn't matter if you don't have both parents in the house. He's now a father, a husband. He met his wife in college, and they've been together ever since. God is not playing with you about your life. I want this oil for success, for longevity, for faithfulness, for determination, for God. I want it on your life. We're not going to let the enemy have you. You cannot fail. Come on, singers. We're counting on you. We're counting on you. And I posted on my page, what you see the most will have the most influence on you. It's not Waka Flocka. It's not Young Jeezy. It's not Sierra. It's none of those. Look at me. I need you to see success God's way. I need you to see prosperity God's way. Can't no politician, can't no race, can't nobody stop you when God is on your side. And if you be patient and don't try to get the bag so fast, you'll have it. As they're singing, I want you and your wife, just as God leads you, work your way. Just say a soft prayer, touch and agree. Ask them what they're going to be in life and agree with them on it. Come on, singers.